So after owning this Alien box set for the better half of 3 years, it's finally time I sat down and watched them, and now that I've seen them all, let's rank them all. Just one quick thing before I do get started with this ranking. Just remember this is my own personal ranking, but make sure you let me know your ranking in the comment section down below. Which movies you love, which movies you hate, let me know all that in the comment section down below. But with all that said, let's go into number 8 of all the Alien movies. And coming in last place, my least favourite of all of the Alien movies is Alien 3. Not only do I think this movie has a horrible colour tone over it, like if you compare it to the other ones, it's got a horrible kind of a greeny colour tone over it. It looks filthy. It just, the look of this movie as a whole, I don't like. I think the whole prison planet is a decent concept, but it didn't really execute as well. Ripley is probably the worst Ripley's ever been. You could say that Ripley's worse in Alien 4, which I do agree with, but that's not Ripley. That's a kind of a clone of Ripley. So this as Ripley, as in Aliens, and Alien 3, this is easily the worst Ripley has ever been, and it's by a good majority. I don't like how she's got an alien in her throughout the entirety of the movie. I don't know why the chest burster didn't burst out of her chest like 20 minutes into the movie. There's just so much with this movie I don't enjoy. I don't like any of the character. Maybe Charles Dance, I think the guy's name was. I think he was decent, but he doesn't get nearly as much time as he should. There's a really like off-putting kind of rape sequence. There's just so much about this movie that I just feel it's just unwatchable. I feel like the studio wanted to do Alien 3, but they didn't know how to do Alien 3. They didn't know how to follow up Aliens, and they just didn't know what to do to continue the story, so they just kind of got a mess of altogether. As well, the biggest crime with this movie is the journey of aliens, which is a fantastic story. Love the story so much, but to see what they do with aliens at the end of Aliens, the way that wraps up, and then what they do at the start of Aliens 3 or Alien 3, the way they wrap that up, and what they do with that in the fact that they kill off Newt and Hicks is just a horrible way to start this movie, and it really leaves you, like the way this movie starts off, leaves you having a bad taste in your mouth for the majority of the movie. I don't know whose idea that was, but it was a pretty bad idea. And number 7 is Alien vs Predator 2 or Alien vs Predator Requiem. This movie as a whole, which the common complaint with this one is it's very dark, and I'd agree with that. I could barely see anything throughout this movie, especially because our two main people that we're watching fight are also black characters. So the fact that they're black characters fighting in a black background, I really couldn't see anything. I had my lights off, I had the brightness in the TV as much as I possibly could, and I could still barely see anything. As well, this movie is called Aliens versus Predators, and they're really not in this movie as much as you would like to think. A lot of this movie is spent with these random human characters that have got, there's about 3 or 4, I think there's even like 5 different storylines with different human characters that all merge at the end, but I didn't care for one of them, so the fact that we spend more time with them and less time with the aliens and the predators was just really disappointing for an Alien versus Predator movie. One of the good things I like about this movie is that we see the aliens in a different atmosphere. We're not seeing them on a ship. We're seeing them in like a normal suburban town in America, and they're going around hunting people, killing them. I like that kind of concept to it. Some stuff like with the pregnant woman I thought was a really weird choice. Seeing the alien going into a ward in a hospital full of babies, and you just know the alien's gonna eat them all. That was a weird kind of idea in that, but as a whole, this movie is a bad follow up to Alien vs Predator. If I'm going to watch a movie in the Alien genre or the Alien franchise, it's probably not going to be this one. It's quite low on my list of rewatching. I don't really have any ambition in going back and watching this one anytime soon. And coming in number 6, I've got Alien Resurrection. If Alien 3 kind of destroyed the Ripley character, this just kind of continued it on and threw it in the dirt. Even though you can say this isn't Ripley, it's a clone, still what you see, this is like to kind of represent it, to kind of make it Ripley, and I really don't like what they do with Ripley in this movie. I think she's, to say the least, a bitch, and you can understand that it isn't Ripley, but it's still, you can look at it as Ripley, and I don't like the character whatsoever. As well, the alien design towards the end of the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, is absolutely horrific, horrible looking design. But this movie does have some enjoyable elements. I like the kind of the ragtag group of misfits that work together to try and save themselves. I like that group. I don't love that group. They're not the best group in this franchise, but for what they are, I do enjoy them. Seeing Ron Perlman was pretty cool. Seeing the 3 aliens in the cell looking at each other and deciding to kill the one to break out was quite smart, and it showed that they are intelligent creatures, which I did enjoy that as well. Overall, though, it's just It's not a movie that I love. It's kind of stupid. I look at it as a stupid movie to watch rather than this is a great alien movie. I feel like this is lends itself more to a comedy rather than a horror action movie. It's not the best aliens movie, but of course it's not the worst. So next up I've got Alien Covenant. This is a movie that after watching it, I've looked into a bit. It's very controversial. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. For me, I thought it was okay. I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't a direct follow up to Prometheus. I was kind of going into it expecting it to be a direct follow up to Prometheus. Now we get some answers in this about Prometheus, but the way they were kind of led to believe didn't really like. I kind of wanted to get more answers. I feel like this ship that they're on, the Covenant, the ship, the people on it, you would think they'd be intelligent people because they are, of course, going to set up a new Earth. But every one of those people on that ship are absolute morons, and I don't know why they were chosen. They go to an alien planet that they've never been on, no one's ever heard of it, and they decide that they don't need to wear helmets, and they go around sniffing everything. They are just idiots, and it was hard to watch them because they were so stupid. And I felt like everything they were doing, I was like, why would you do that? Even if like, I just they just baffled me completely. But I thought the xenomorph, the birth of the first xenomorph, where the creature like the chest burster comes out of the guy's back. I thought that was easily the most brutal chest burster scene out of the entire franchise. Seeing him absolutely burst out of his back was a horrific scene. You got David and Walter. I thought they worked off each other well enough where you could see them kind of their brains ticking, asking the same questions. I liked that element to it, but honestly, I wanted to see a more of a Prometheus sequel, and what we got here, I just kind of found to be disappointing. And next up is Alien versus Predator. I went in with my expectations being so low. I've heard for years and years that these are not good movies. So I went in expecting them to be quite crap. And I left this movie actually really enjoying it. I actually thought it was a really fun movie. I think it's probably, out of all these movies, it's the one that lends itself the most to being called a fun movie. I was really surprised at how much fun this movie actually was. None of the characters are amazing, but I didn't really go into them for the characters. I just enjoyed watching the alien and the predators beat the shit out of each other. Seeing them, like, one of them, a predator kills an alien, and all of a sudden 3 aliens come out of nowhere and kill a predator. Or you see the alien bursting out of the predator's chest at the end of the movie. One negative I didn't like was that there's a lot of CGI slow motion shots, which, why? Whose idea was it to do a CGI slow motion shot? That just looked really, really bad. But as a whole, I think it's a fun movie. But the backstory that's told in this movie, that I don't really see it as a canon backstory. I think that's one, like, it's kind of like a side, just a little bit of a fun movie to be told. But the backstory that they kind of set up within this movie, that the aliens were only created for the predators to come and attack them just so they can get strong, I thought that was quite a cool backstory. And then the sequence we see of the backstory was something I actually did enjoy. And in third place, I have got Prometheus. When I found out that this was an origin story to how the aliens had come about, I had no interest whatsoever. I was kind of happy knowing that the aliens just came out of nowhere. I didn't need any answers. I didn't care for any answers, and I just honestly just didn't care about the answers. But then as I watched the story, I actually found it to be a quite interesting story, and I liked how the aliens kind of, the idea of how they came about. Now, it was a bit like, it was a bit mad how they came, but like everything had to work the exact perfect way for everything to go about, but that's just the way it went. David as a character, I thought, was such a creepy guy that you couldn't know if you, one minute you can trust him, one minute you can't. He's all over the place. You didn't know where you stood with David. I thought the creature design of the what, they're not called the inventor, what are they called, whatever they're called, I thought they looked good. I thought the first xenomorph that popped out at the end looked really, really weird. I feel like this movie stands on its own a lot more. I feel like if you just watch this without any context of the aliens, it'll stand up. But as well as it's kind of a prequel to the aliens, it works well. So I think it works on both aspects, but I just think it's a movie that I was kind of shocked at how much I actually did enjoy. I just wish Alien Covenant followed it up more and gave us better answers, because I still have questions. And my runner-up is, of course, Alien. This movie, I think, it's an absolutely fantastic. I'd say it's easily one of my favorite horror movies now. It's actually the only one out of these movies I've actually seen twice. Watched it with my girlfriend, and there's a sequence in particular that made her jump throughout it, which I was quite surprised at the horrific elements that kind of got her to jump. I think the build-up of this movie, the suspense, everything kind of setting up to what is this face hugger, what was this creature that jumped out of this guy's chest, to the big reveal of the big massive alien works really, really well, even though you know all this stuff because it's of course pop culture. But even if you were to watch it back in whatever year this was, 1979, I don't know, but even back then, this the whole suspense of all this works really, really well. All the crew, like, they actually feel like real crew who've been living in the ship together for so long. The ship as well feels like it's been lived in. It's dirty, it's old, it's a creepy ass dark ship. Works really well. All of it, it feels like a lived in world. It feels like even when they come across all the alien eggs, it feels like they've been there for millions of years. They've been there for God knows how long, but of course now we know they were actually only there for a couple of years because of Alien Covenant. And of course, number one is Aliens. Of course, James Cameron's movie will be number one. I love the kind of mother-daughter relationship between Ripley and Newt. I think it's so strong. I love the fact that they got great chemistry. I love the bond. I love that Ripley does everything she can to make sure Newt survives this entire scenario. Fuck you, Aliens 3. I think this is the best Ripley has ever been. Sigourney Weaver is absolutely fantastic in this movie. I actually found out recently she got nominated for an Oscar for this, which is just baffling. You'd never think that would never happen now, which is just mad that she got nominated for an Oscar for this. I love the action throughout the movie. I love the big fight at the end with the alien queen. I think all of the soldiers and the marines and all them, they actually feel like real soldiers. They've got such great chemistry together. They feel like they've had relationships for years. It's fantastic the way all these soldiers feel like they've known each other. And I love the chemistry between Ripley and Newt, or not Newt, Ripley and I can't remember his name. I can't remember the guy from Terminator, his name. I love the relationship that they grow together. All of it. I love the suspense, the way we don't really see an alien for, I'd say, 40-50 minutes into the movie, but I love the suspense of it building up to it. This movie is a perfect movie to me. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a movie that I'm very excited to rewatch, and I really, really love this movie. So that's my ranking of all 8 Aliens movies. Make sure you let me know your ranking in the comments section down below. Now that I've made my way through the Alien movies, after God knows how long, I'm going to rewatch the Predator movies. I've seen them all loads of times, but I'm going to rewatch them because it's been a while. I think 2018 was the last time I saw them in preparation to that dumpster fire, some would call it. So I'm looking forward to rewatching all the Predator movies, probably do a ranking. So if you want to hear my ranking of all 6 Predator movies, make sure to click the subscribe button so you can come back for that video. And as always, thanks for watching.